On a January afternoon, too cold to be walking around with a camera on the far west side of Chicago, I had just begun to make my way back downtown after Starship Restaurant made me a lunch of hot pizza bread and a cold sub featuring both Thousand Island and ranch dressings. Just superb. After a ride on these nearly new 7000 series Blue Line trains, I'm bound to ride something much older back to St. Paul. It's another ride up the old Milwaukee Road route, and this time we've got options for how we can enjoy ourselves. Let's get started. Last time I took Amtrak from Chicago to the Twin Cities of Minnesota, I didn't have that good of a time. It was on the state-sponsored train Borealis. I prefer the Empire Builder, and today I'm going to show you why. It's a different train, it's an older train, it takes the same route, but there's a lot of differences. And to me, there's just enough small luxuries that make it a better trip versus the one with better timing, the Borealis. One of the greatest selling points Amtrak has for passenger rail travel is that you can largely make of it what you want it to be. But when it's a sold-out train and you have only one place to sit on board and nowhere else to go to pass the time, that makes a big difference. On the Empire Builder today, there's going to be several outlets for your boredom that you can walk around the train with. And I think, as you'll see, once we're on the train and it's moving and we can move freely about it, it makes for a considerably different experience. Now, we have access to the lounge, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with the Great Hall. Especially when you in your planning will consider from just sitting in your living room that you could be sitting in here for any given amount of time waiting for your train. It's not a bad place to do so. Now, the Empire Builder and the Borealis both take the same route and they both use Superliner equipment. So that makes them the same train, right? Well, Borealis currently only has coaches, and Empire Builder has a sightseer lounge, a dining car, and sleeping car accommodations, which I've been able to, in the first occasion of successfully using the BidUp system, upgrade to today. It's also the first day of the last 5 to 6 days in which the train has run at all due to cold weather across the country. So today you would think that means a lot of people are waiting to take it back to wherever they came from or wherever they're planning on going. No, that demand is pretty much cleared out. I don't consider this to be the greatest lounge experience, but it comes with the upgrade that we paid only $125 for, on top of a $44 base fare. That means that I saved many hundreds of dollars in using the BidUp program to get this seat for 8 hours, which some would say that because it's not overnight, you don't need a sleeping car. You can't really sleep in there. Well, no, but you do get the privacy. You get the comfort, you get the control over your surroundings. There's a lot to be said about that. We've got a little bit of time before boarding, so let's go grab some snacks in the Metropolitan Lounge. See, we have a Borealis inbound at 7:21 today. It used to be that getting the lounge meant priority boarding by cutting the line entirely and going right out to the track. No, not with the 2-line system they have now. There's even a waiting area for people in the sleeper car, but I just like the sleeping car because it gives you the assurance that you've got a place that is your own. But with the Empire Builder, there have always been multiple classes of service. It's a history train. It's a train that expects some sort of level of elegance, but really what it affords you is the capability to do the trip as you want it, whether you're in coach or first class. Now, I've taken the Empire Builder in a sleeping car between Chicago and the Twin Cities on this arguably day trip many, many times. The value in it for me is really obvious. It's just a nice, pleasant ride that you don't have to worry about, how many people are going to be on board? Will it be difficult to get around? How long will the boarding line be? Will people be disruptive? Will they be nice? When you pay for the first class ticket, you get that almost always in a very nice package. Now when it comes to the Borealis, they used to offer two classes of service. There was coach and business class. But once the Horizon cars and the Amfleet business class got changed to the bi-level superliners, the thought was that, well, it's a superliner, so that should be good as just one class of service. But it doesn't have the capacity, and as such, it's also been found to be kind of like a tin can, always packed full with people, because it's a very popular train for its arrival and departure times. Oh, and it's also to be said that this trip today is unique in that it is the last time I will be able to say I'm going to the Twin Cities as a destination. Why is that? I'll tell you when we get there. I used to not go down here, now you do, and now you wait at the door.
And last but not least, car 2730. If you are 2730, please line up at this time.
Under the bright new lighting from the recently installed drop ceiling, we're led by a gate agent to the through track, but this time from the north side of Union Station's basement. It appears that for this moment in history, priority boarding once again means cutting the line of coach passengers contained in the glass-encased waiting queue. This one all covered with snow, that's ours. Well, that's the main difference between Borealis and Empire Builder. That Borealis is state sponsored, and the state subsidy is not giving it a full crew like the Empire Builder. Today, as we go through the train, we're also going to see where that crew makes a difference in the overall passenger experience on Empire Builder. Nice stacking. If we were staying through morning, we could use that. I've seen those get full, but not very often. And fancier accommodations.
It's not changed for the CP orders. Okay.
So at least one of our locomotives is number 344, but the way it's entered into the computer, it's not the correct locomotive in sequence because the computer matters. You can have infinite privacy, or as close to it as possible, on Empire Builder.
Train 7 departs 19 on a clear. 7 train crew, have a safe trip. We thank you much.
On time. First time in 5 or 6 days. EMD power.
Indicators are green, over.
All right.
That's a good runner for 7, over.
.344, 312, and 319 today. 3 of the newer Siemens ALC-42 locomotives on a train that will certainly see sub-zero temperatures going over several mountain ranges is a very optimistic way to lead our train out of downtown Chicago and into Metro territory. It's rare for long-distance trains to leave or maintain on-time running in winter on what will eventually become mostly freight railroad owned by CPKC. But the past week's lower temperatures and the previous day's snow seem to greatly curtail the backlog of trains on this line this Monday. The diamonds. Steamy.
Outdoor exercise break will be at your ticketed destination, Winona, Minnesota, whichever comes first. Winona, Minnesota will be 8:40 p.m. this evening.
The cafe and bar is located near the center of the train. It is right below the observation car, so that is the car with all the windows from floor to ceiling. In the middle of that car, there's some stairs. Head down those stairs, there you'll find me. Down here's a great selection of sweet treats, tasty snacks, cool beverages, plus the delicious cup of coffee, always made with love. I know. Can't forget those bloody berries. Spiced there, not alone with you. My favorite. Nothing's more refreshing today. Ice. Cold. Beer. So come on down, come see Will, come say hi, come with your heart desire, and as always, it's just right. Captain Bar.
My name is Zach, and I am the dining car steward on board today's train. Along with my illustrious crew, we are headed to Seattle in the diner. Folks, the dining car is established for full service sit-down meals and full service sit-down meals only. Breakfast and lunch will be first come, first serve tomorrow and Wednesday. Dinner this evening will require a reservation. For meals, our sleeping car passengers, meals are included in the price of their accommodations today. The only thing that you would need to concern yourself with, folks, would be any adult beverages or gratuity should you choose. For our coach passengers, you will also have an opportunity to join us for meals throughout the trip if you would like. Your prices are predicated on a flat rate system. For example, dinner this evening for our coach passengers would be $45 per person to join us in the dining car for dinner. I'm going to keep this real simple this afternoon, folks. I myself am getting ready to head to the very rear of the train. I will begin this afternoon in the 2730 Portland-bound sleeping car. I will speak with anyone and everyone that would like to make a reservation for dinner. I will then carry on forward through the train to the 730 Seattle-bound sleeping car. If and or should I have any seats remaining upon my completion of this great task, I will extend the invitation to coach passengers should there be anyone interested in joining us for dinner this evening. So finally, folks, at this time, if I may have you remain in your accommodations for the time being, I need at least one member of your party in that room with the door and curtain open so that I may find you and assess you the proper reservation. Thank you, everyone, for your attention. Let's get it.
Clear 117, number 5, here we go.
Brought your own alcohol aboard the train, that alcohol must remain inside of your bag. We do sell alcohol located on the lower level of the sightseeing observation car. It's the car with the big windows ceiling to the floor. Halfway through that car, downstairs in the observation car is a cafe car where they sell ice, cold, beer, hamburgers, and apple juice that's ice cold, and cookies. This lower level of that sightseeing observation car.
Now out of Metro territory as we pass Rondout, Chicagoland and Illinois wane, and the subtle zoning differences of Wisconsin allow warehouses and power generating infrastructure to fill in some of the rural spaces prior to our knocking down Sturdivant and Milwaukee General Mitchell International Airport station stops that would be served by the Borealis and Hiawatha Service Amtrak trains. It seems like easy blocking for our train to make its way out into the CPKC national network. This day saw northbound passenger rail trains from Amtrak and Metra returning to service, mostly in whole, but those bound for Texas and points west were either still canceled or incurring delays on earlier departures. No such worries for our train so far. Let's hope this remains the case after Milwaukee, when we make our way west toward the Driftless region and Mississippi River bluffs to come further down the line as we enter the nightfall of wintertime.
No, I don't know, but I mean, I can always give him a call. Yes.
Milwaukee, Wisconsin will be next in just a few moments. Crew members are going to be Depot 3, that's right-hand side loading in Milwaukee. Only said to make Milwaukee last now. Milwaukee, Wisconsin coming up, Depot 3, right-hand side. Only stand on the platform if you fully intend to make this your last stop. Milwaukee.
It seems like such a small detail, the act of taking a walk through these rail cars. Slight enough a concept that Borealis seems to, at a glance, match, But that train contains only other coach cars. No lounge to sit oneself in across 2 levels, no separate dining car. The result being a perpetual concentration of travelers in one seat for the whole 7 hours from Chicago to the Twin Cities. And traveling by oneself ensures you get to try to make a friend out of your seatmate on the almost always sold out Borealis. But on the Empire Builder, you can have the time to walk about the longer train set and see the trip from a number of different perspectives across most hours of the long journey. There used to be a megabus connection to Green Bay and Eau Claire in the Twin Cities from Milwaukee here. Sort of like an alternate way up that they sometimes put people onto, but no more megabus. But I saw it listed on the monitors at St. Paul Union Depot. What am I to believe? It's Coach USA, right? Sure, that's why I go on their website and I can't ever book it. Now that bus will take you up to Marquette, Michigan. That could be an interesting coach bus ride on its own.
1545, thank you much. And I wish I knew 337 was going to 4 earlier. I would have put you in 1 over. It worked out for us, so no harm, no foul for us, but appreciate it.
Just to be able to stand up and look at the world going by. And you can do this in various postures and positions and directions. And it's not just all seats. Something I'm doing today also for the first time, other than taking a train that hasn't run in 6 days' time, I'm bringing home some frozen soup from Starship Restaurant. See, I could not get Megan's gluten-free baking mixes at the start of this trip.
Amtrak service station work complete, located in Port Milwaukee.
So this is the consolation prize. This is the completely perfect posture setting where you almost have the other seat down into a bed, and the seat that I'm in is fully reclined. If you only have one person in the roomette, this is possible. Otherwise, it's just like you share a closet. There's a kind of soft beauty to the Midwest in winter. And how it goes from the red in the sky to the white on the land, it's just, that contrast is what it's all about. And these are the cleanest train windows I have seen all day, but the CTA was doing nothing to the train cars, so I'm just a little partial today. If you ask me, Watertown should be the city with the Amtrak station, but it's Columbus somehow. Just rural crossings in the middle of the night, and you get to witness it, lights and all. Watertown, and we're just past the junction where the additional train that would serve Madison and Eau Claire would spur off toward the former. I love the idea of that train for reasons that will become obvious soon, but that area hasn't had passenger service in more than 60 years. It's like we're right on that line of where it turns from light to dark. I think Amtrak, instead of being desperate to sell these smaller, less capacity rooms, they could really go to a model where they use lie-flat seating in a business class type configuration like you see on airlines. Problem with that is the same as the problem with this old train car, is that accessibility standards have to be met. Designing one that allows for creature comfort, high capacity, and accessibility very hard to do within the confines of the specifications of one of these bi-level rail cars.
Cars 4, 3, 3, 4, 2.
And it's all complete now, yeah. Ride Amtrak in first class and see things like grain truck offloading areas. Oh, major setback in Columbus, they cannot find the step box.
If he doesn't have one, bring it out to the station. We'll bring it back well, we won't be bringing it back tomorrow, though.
Oh, geez. We're 3 minutes early.
We're locked up when you get time, Casey. You want us to pull west of this crossing?
No, no need now. We'll be alright.
We don't need to pull out of the crossing. We can just continue to mess up traffic. I guess they found the step box. You're sitting in coach and this happens and you get stir crazy. You just pick up and walk to the, the lounge after everybody from Columbus is settled down and less confused. If you're in a sleeper, we just walk back and look at some other stuff like a car I've never seen. That is the transition sleeper. That is where the crew sleeps, but they will also use BidUp to sell those rooms or just sell them out of the normal catalog. The civility of it and not. Climate control in the room tonight is great. I normally don't set it all the way to warmer, but I did this time. The first dinner reservation was called, but I've got a table an hour from now. So I relocated to the Sightseer Lounge to remind myself of the backup offerings in the cafe, as well as to watch everything lighted across the central Wisconsin countryside pass by the floor-to-ceiling windows. Though I saw one coach passenger on the way watching Korean TV news on a laptop. Don't know how. But I'm the type that needs to get up and move around hourly on a train, so having a secondary location with just a chair to haunt is a simple travel extravagance I really appreciate. Portland coach is going to eat in the dining cars and not making their way downstairs. Maybe we could walk to the very end of the train. It's ended with a sleeper car, the one going to Portland. And we're also in a sleeping car, so it should be okay. Not very full. See, it's looking very serious, but we are among them. No, it's not. Good try. Cool blue. We made it as far as we can go without having to go a lot further by foot. So well. The Empire Builder sends folks from Chicago back to their homes across the Midwest, but it also takes on a consistent handful of travelers from towns like Portage, Wisconsin, and the surrounding villages to places out west where they can maintain connections of family, school, business, whatever. These folks stay with the Empire Builder for its connections to these cities, free from cars by choice and traveling more simply when the chance is afforded. These station stops are never without business on my trips. I cannot order the steak. When am I next going to have an Amtrak steak? The carpet is shockingly clean on this train. I don't know if I've ever seen such clean carpets on a superliner. Bravo, Amtrak. The secret is just don't use them for 6 days. Passengers passing through said something at the door. Says it's just like the escalator. In what way is a train like an escalator? And see Ripley's from here. Such great memories of being here and cold this time of year, because I've run out of things to say and put over the thing when we get over the river, or so I think. I'll try it in wide angle. Maybe that'll inspire me to say something. No, it just looks smaller and darker. Went pretty fast for a 12-car train. We're getting close to Toma, and that's a place that we're gonna see more of this year. You wanna go to Toma? Better like and subscribe. Time for dinner. Let's go. It's paper towel buffet. This could be a happening place pre-dinner. They could make some money. Why don't they? People cost money too.
This looks good. I don't know what they put on this, but
Swap you. Merci beaucoup. Dankeschön.
And last but not least, in those features we talked about, the Winona fresh air break.
yeah, kind of.
They're still hanging on up there. Back by popular demand. It's a train. That's what we came here to do. Let's go. I am so enthusiastic about the new method I learned about tipping on Amtrak with a credit card that I'm going to take a shower to celebrate. And it's got the backup soap and the big towels. How am I the first one to be using this? It's got the good soaps that you can get out if they're actually in there in the first place. Oh, right. Unnaturally low demand due to weather. That's why. It's January. Okay, classic shower recap. To those that talk down the white marble, it is actually Dove. How do I know that? Because I had to use it. Because this Beekman is empty. And while I was cursing the name of Beekman because it was empty, I kind of pulled the shower curtain a bit, and well, the half-penny wire hangers that your worst college landlord gives you, they didn't do so good, but we got them back in shape, so it's fine. Otherwise, the regular classic Amtrak shower. So this one you cannot see down to the tracks, I will say that at least. I mean, I've had worse middle seat partners on Sun Country than this. Doesn't even apply here. And if you're really the type that needs like extra spaces to be in, you could fold down the top bunk, and then this would be more like a little encampment or fort. It's like almost enough of a late period in the day that I could just bed down and rest, but I don't on these trips. I just gotta stare off into the night and look around the room, and probably, if anywhere, fell in love with roomettes on these trips that weren't for sleeping reasons. Looking at motels from sleeping cars. There's a reason they're called superliners, and they've lasted for all these decades, because they're full of magic. The detail that gets me is this section of padding. It's just like on this thing. But that's an integral part of the room and the padding experience of the room. After closer examination on the finishes of this Superliner 2 roomette, though, this is holding up a lot better than most I've seen. So either this is the one that got the official OEM scraps when it needed to be reupholstered, or it's just held in there. I can't believe either way, really. Amazing for this trip that we are having just the right amount of pacing to get us in on or better than schedule.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're now arriving in Red Wing. If Red Wing's your stop, please head downstairs. Be prepared to exit the train. This will be an extremely brief stop. Only those leaving and joining us are allowed on the platform.
What we need to believe is that regardless of which train we're taking, we should appreciate what we have in the superliners, because we don't know what's going to be the replacement equipment, if there is any at all. Luckily, you know, when it's based on good designs, they tend to hold in there. But all the same, it's so much better when there's space to spread out. And the cars with space are at a premium, and they are very much in need of money to keep running. Whereas Viewliner cars just get sent out missing panels like they did for me. This is around the same time frame, and they clearly have received more love in the Superliner maintenance area than Viewliners do, but they are quite different in that regard too, based off of very different ways of thinking about how to build passenger cars. When you're this long of a train, you can come into Red Wing fairly hot. And we're working all the cars from the back today. Now, if we were running on time into Red Wing, every rational person would expect us to be on time or early into the Twin Cities, but let us not forget the freight yards. As I was talking about at dinner, it's gotten a lot more consistent since CPKC became the law of the land of this railroad that we're on. But, you know, all the railroads meet up in the Twin Cities, and if they've got any sort of congestion, you can wait sometimes. So we don't know until we're there. Well, Amtrak clearly put something into these cars, because you see, this is not the original plate. That's a new one that they put on since. That's not the original light. They want these superliners to be able to keep running, even if it is as inefficiently as they would be in the modern world with one outlet. See, now in a world where North Star was still an operating thing, this Hastings rail yard would also have Metro Transit commuter rail cars. By the way, my feelings on North Star that no one asked about. Everyone got to be right in the end. The people that were for it, the people that were against it. It was just never much of a system to start with. It could have been a lot more, it should have been a lot more, but it wasn't. And it wasn't right to really keep it running in the state that it was in. Most of the things that I've enjoyed today have been because I'm in the Roomette. It was an uncommonly good value, and there's plenty of these trips I have not gotten to have this incredibly uncommon experience. I mean, I've done it a lot, but I still value it quite a bit. Taking coach is an experience on its own that still affords itself plenty of comfort versus, say, flying or having to constantly concentrate while you're driving. It's still the same reasons why you should take it on the Empire Builder and coach. You still have the ability to have the fine meal. The only thing you can't do is that ridiculous shower we just did. You still get a fresh air break. You still get the sightseer lounge. I mean, salmon was good, but it was not a Stromboli. I'm not saying that for good or bad. I'm just saying that they're two different foods you can buy on Amtrak. And this seems like they built a lot of higher density stuff next to potential transit in Hastings. And I do like spending time in Hastings. One more time over the river for the St. Paul destination sign. And once again, we are on the BNSF line. We merged over with that line coming out of Prescott. So we are coming back in through Cottage Grove. This has been the standard over almost the last year of the two routes, the CPKC or BNSF. We are entering the yard south of the depot, getting closer to being a real early arrival. That just has only happened like 4 times to me, including this time. Now in the upper portion of the yard, I would estimate we're probably going to be about 20 minutes early into St. Paul. There it be, embedded in the seat. Soon to be on the platform. When will I be in another Superliner to Roomette? That is the question. I mean, with all this extra time, I could do anything when I get home. I think I'll pet a cat. You can't pick it up here, but I can see Borealis in the storage track, so it did make it up here today as well. I appear to be overdressed, so I guess we will be exiting the train soon. Not too sore yet. Thank you so much, Miss Reed. You too. And first off in St. Paul, what made that happen? First train 7 in 5 or 6 days in St. Paul. This is the last time I'll be calling it my final destination though. What do I mean by that? See, the thing is, I'm about to change my long-term layover point, aka I'm moving. So if I come to here toward the end of a trip, there's still going to be another connection. Now, as to where that's going to be, I want to wait till I've got all my I's dotted and T's crossed, and you know, my bed, my baby, and my cat are all moved into the new place. But I can tell you is, it is east of St. Paul, and I have to cross several major rivers to get to it. I just have to go up one more time, that's all. Will it be called up? It's not letting me do the thing. This happened the first time I was ever here. Oh gosh. At least the door opened this time. True story, on the grand opening before trains were coming here, a bunch of people got stuck down here and I had to go up the escalator like I've got to do now to get everyone out. But unfortunately now I have to backpedal. My grand escape on my last final destination trip here, right? Of course, that blunder.
We know exactly where we are. If we woke you up, that means head downstairs and be ready to get out of the train. Once again, shoes remain on the train. We will be asking questions.
Yeah, that's what we love about Amtrak, a good lecture. That was a really good trip, and if I had been in coach, I would have just probably got up about the same amount, gone to the lounge car, and once I had my fill, just be back in my seat, staring out the window, maybe dozing off. And that conversation was another great one for dinner, so that, as much as the food kept me going. And the shower was nice too. That I could only get in a sleeping car, but you know, most of that was the crew, a lot of it, how much they put into it. And that's the biggest difference, I think, with the Empire building versus Borealis. Bigger crew with better things for the guests. I mean passengers, whatever. Took everything I could remember to not take the historic stair this way this time. Elevator of prestige in shady alcove. Also tornado shelter. And I also mindlessly pressed down. When I come to think about it, I didn't remember that my van was in a lower level than me, even though I know that's where the garage is. It's a bit cold outside is what I'm saying. Should have gone to Florida like I originally planned. The moral here, you gotta bite while the iron's hot, or whatever they say. Well, the fares are cheap. This wasn't that expensive though. $169 for a Roomette, nice. It was another very snowy time in Chicago, but what a Greyhound ride. Hopefully this pain in my hips isn't a result of that. It definitely is. Anyway, I'm gonna go try to sleep that off and have a day off tomorrow. Put this all into a video and we'll see where I go from here, right? It's gonna open up a lot of options. Remember when I said Toma? Might pick up some trains from there. It's somewhere off in that land. And I'll be seeing you from there very soon. Seriously here, I'm back, and most days I'm just getting to my van at this time off the Empire Builder. Is it that the on-time performance gods have smiled on me for my decision to relocate? No. It'll be late again. Someday. Unfortunately, the next morning, this train had to back up after Fargo and take a detour to Minot, losing several hours in the process due to some track obstruction. They were such a nice crew. Why did things always happen to nice people? Anyway, thanks for coming along with me. Snapdragon.